Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be seeing if we can get this vintage Class 31 running again. This was a locomotive which I found on eBay. It was basically in a lot with a whole bunch of other vintage locomotives from England, all being sold as scrap. This locomotive is certainly no exception. It's in pretty poor condition. It's had a lot of subpar maintenance done on it over the years. You can see right here something's been broken and somebody put some sort of glue to get that back on. We got wires going everywhere. The motor does crank over, but you have to do some funny stuff to get it to do that. So overall, things are not looking great for it. So today I want to try just taking it apart and seeing if we can actually get this thing going. You know, I don't really know what the condition of the armature and everything else is, but let's give it a chance and see if we can't make it a little bit better. Anyways, to get started, we'll take it over to the track and then we'll kind of just go from there, I think. Now, if I recall correctly, when we get this thing on the track here, it won't do anything if we give it power. You can see there's no current draw. But if we remove this, and I think it was the brush on the right side here, if we wiggle that, you hear how it's trying to crank over there? There's definitely some life in that motor, it just doesn't seem to want to run on its own. So it could just be a problem with the commutator, I'm not entirely sure. Let's bring it back over to the bench and see if we can figure out what's up. So to remove the power truck, I believe what we have to do is pull out this retainer here. I suspect that because it actually says this right here. Do not unscrew, lift, and slide the spring clip to release power bogey. It's really nice that they bothered to include instructions. I don't find you really see that on many models these days. Anyways, to do so, I guess we'll just kind of try to push this thing forward with a flatheads and see if we can get it to pop out. It looks like somebody has already been in here before because you can see all the scratches right there. So I don't know if you're just supposed to kind of pry up like this, but I'm just going to go at it and hopefully it will come apart here. There we are. So that was pretty straightforward. As we can see, it has all-wheel contact. That's pretty nice. Those wipers, I'd imagine, need to be cleaned. Now, if we remove these 4 screws, we can probably drop this out and actually gain access to the motor. And that should reveal a lot about what might be causing this thing not to function properly. I would also like to figure out what these wires are for. It might have had a headlight, but I'm not entirely sure where that was located. So we'll maybe try to figure that out later. Well, there's the armature. Those coils do look a bit crispy, as a matter of fact. Yeah, it's sticking to the magnets. I don't know, that could just be because I removed this. So all 4 contacts look to be relatively clean. I'll probably end up cleaning them anyways, but that's already a good sign. So I'm thinking that our attention should be directed to the commutator right here. And since we have access from here, I think we'll just try to clean it instead of removing the brushes. The problem could be with the brushes, but I'd probably put more money on the commutator at this point since the springs look like they're still doing their job pretty well. And we'll just get the commutator all shined up with a fiberglass pencil here. Alright, well, with some cleaning done on all those parts, I think I'm going to try to reassemble it and see if it will start up now. There definitely was quite a bit of dirt in there, so that might be the problem. There's an easy way to find out. I believe I've got these in the right way, but I'll have to double check on that because these are helix gears, so they have to be put in a certain way. I think if you put them in backwards, it will cause issues. Anyways, let's see if we can get this back on here. We'll just put in 2 bolts for now, just so we can test it. All right, let's go test this. Well, that did not make a single difference. That's weird. That was not shorting earlier. Something's way off here. So I've been having a look over this thing for a while now, and I think I got to the root of the problem. It's not the fact that I forgot to put the wipers in place. It's this thing up here, which is completely loose. What I noticed is that you got this little wiper here, and it's connected to this side. Now, I traced how the power gets in here. You can see you got, two isolated sides here. Power feeds up through here, so on and so forth. However, to get power onto this wiper, it has to come through this spring. Well, that connects to this cap. And that cap is connected to here, which is the same place the other wiper gets its power from. So it's basically creating a bit of a short circuit when you connect it to the rest of this. Of course, it can't because there's no way for the power here to flow over here yet. So this became loose at some point, or somebody adjusted it. And they completely messed it up because this is actually supposed to be on this side, I believe. And that's why it can't pick up power. As a matter of fact, you can see it's supposed to go over that ridge, so I'll try loosening this just a little bit, and we'll see if we can fix it here. So I'm trying to sort out the wipers while I'm in here, too. All right, let's try that again. Okay, and, okay, so I saw it crank for a second there. It's not shorted, but, oh, yeah, there we go. Let's see, can we get it back? Oh, yeah. Well, this thing runs great. At least it's running. I wonder how long it's been like that. That is certainly closer to the results I was hoping to see. I'm really impressed that the motor is as healthy as it is. So it's kind of a good example that whenever you open something up, you can never assume that everything is where it should be, because when you're dealing with something used, especially where it has signs that somebody's tinkered with it, you never know if somebody's opened this up and adjusted something that they don't understand. So always investigate. So I'm pretty confident at this point we can reinstall the drive back into the locomotive, but before we do, I want to get this whole wiring situation sorted out. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I suspect there was a light fixture somewhere in this locomotive. I don't see any signs of it anywhere, so I think it's probably long gone. So I got myself one of these 12-volt wheat bulbs, and I think that should probably work well enough. I'm going to put it on this side of the locomotive, and my logic with that is we only have one coupler left on this thing, and I don't have any replacements, so we'll just run the engine kind of backwards with the light up front, and since it's a symmetrical locomotive, it won't really make a difference looks-wise. So let's get to doing that. So at this point, I think everything is probably the best it has been in many years, with the exception of actually securing the roof. Now, I think at one point this probably had a bit of a post which extended through the locomotive down here and connected up to some sort of screw. That's all long gone, so we're gonna have to come up with something a little bit different. I got some spare parts laying around and a self-tapping screw. I think with a little bit of MacGyvering, we might be able to get this thing back together. It's not gonna be ideal, but neither is this, so I just gotta work with what we've got. I mean, I certainly don't love it, but it should get the job done. Well, this may not be the prettiest situation, but it's certainly doing a good job at holding that roof on. You can't even see it thanks to that. So you know what? I think that's not bad. Now let's take this thing over to the track and see if our efforts have paid off. Hopefully this thing works okay. I'll put back together. I probably should have double checked that the bogey was right, but let's just try it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have got a runner. Look at that. Not the fastest engine I have. Oh, I think we've derailed. There we go. Let's just let this thing kind of run around and break in here. The headlight seems to be working pretty well. Not too shabby. Well, I've now been running this thing for about 8 minutes, and it's been pretty good. It does hiccup on a couple of the switches just because it's double O gauge, so the flanges are a little oversized for this layout. Doesn't seem to object with the Pico switches, though, which is kind of interesting. Maybe it's because they're a British design. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, now that we've got this thing running correctly, why don't we throw some cars behind it? As a matter of fact, I actually just bought some new British cars, so we'll quickly unbox those and see how they look behind this. Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be unboxing a 24-piece glass jar set. I'm kidding. Lately, I was on eBay and I found an entire lot of trains for like $15. Seemed like the perfect rolling stock for one reason, but there was also a bunch of British pieces, which I thought I wouldn't mind having in my collection. So this is a whole bunch of vintage Hornby trying stuff. So we got this really cool old boxcar here. I think this one isn't part of that lot. It's by Lima. Brick car. I think this one is for some logs. Got this sort of interesting old crane. And this was primarily why I bought this. A few months ago, some of you might remember I bought a Mahano steam engine in a Facebook Marketplace lot. Anyway, this is the exact tender it needed, and it was just all alone in the lot, so it was sort of perfect because it was just what I was looking for, and the whole lot was like $15, so it's a pretty good deal for all of this in my opinion. So now I got a tender for the locomotive that I needed, and some cool British cars for my new British engine to pull, so I think it worked out quite well. I've got the consist all assembled here. I don't know how well this is going to go because the flanges on this are probably even larger than the ones on the locomotive. And I figure we'll try it out anyway and just see how far we get here. Well, folks, I think that's going to be about it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. I certainly enjoyed working on this thing. Fortunately, these cars don't perform very well with my layout as it is. I think I'm going to end up replacing the switches with Pico ones just so that I can operate this equipment on it. But other than that, I'm very happy. I mean, at the beginning of this video, this locomotive was not in working order. It was in several pieces. It had a whole variety of different issues. And here it is pulling an actual train around the layout. So that's something I could not be more happy with. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. And with that, I just want to thank you all so much for watching.